I just found a new data set that is, it's completely upending the traditional content creation model.
Yeah.
We're looking at a hyper-specific niche, these AI-generated animated stories, and the growth figures are genuinely startling.
They really are, and I think it's because of the content's inherent contradiction.
The contradiction is the key, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, traditionally, if you wanted to produce even a short animated film with this kind of polish, you were looking at a full professional team.
Right. Months of work, specialized software.
And a budget that would easily run into five or, six figures minimum.
Exactly. But now we're seeing channels that are less than a month old hitting these massive milestones. We're talking about one creator who got 100,000 subscribers with just 29 videos.
And another one, I think I saw that one, almost 2 million views in what, 4 weeks?
4 weeks. And a third was close to 1 million in just 3. I mean, this is exponential growth, and it's being done with basically zero traditional animation spending.
It is the very definition of market disruption. We have to look past the novelty of the AI tools themselves and focus on the strategy behind it.
The strategic outcomes.
Right. The scale and speed of this tells us that the barriers to entry for what looks like premium content they've vanished, and the algorithm is actively rewarding that efficiency.
And that's the whole mission of this deep dive, really. We want to go beyond the simple how-to guides and focus entirely on the why. Why is the algorithm pushing this content so hard? And how did AI solve these workflow and, consistency problems that made this impossible for a solo creator just a year and a half ago?
What's really fascinating is that this boom isn't random. It's not an accident. It leverages these fundamental platform incentives that have been there for years, but the cost of meeting those incentives has just completely collapsed.
So it's a calculated strategic move.
It's an exploitation of what the algorithm explicitly rewards.
Okay, so let's unpack that, this algorithmic advantage.
Yeah.
If someone listening wants to understand this, what are the 3 mandatory elements that cause the algorithm to push this content to a huge audience?
So the first mandatory element is the packaging, the polished animations.
Yeah.
In a feed that's just crowded with talking heads or, static images, this high visual quality makes the content instantly more competitive. It signals quality, professionalism.
And that gets you the initial click.
That initial signal is critical. You are fighting for milliseconds of attention in a feed.
Right.
Precisely. So the second driver, and this is really the core engine for growth and monetization, is strong storylines packed with hooks.
Twists and turns.
Exactly. The algorithm doesn't just care if you clicked, it cares if you stayed. This high-stakes, emotional narrative style, it directly drives higher viewer retention, and that's the most critical metric. If the story pulls you in and constantly surprises you, the platform rewards that sustained viewing with more reach.
So we have the initial attention from the polish, and then the sustained attention from the script. What's the third piece that makes this niche so perfectly positioned?
It's the strong packaging. I'm talking about the thumbnails and the overall visual style. It often deliberately mimics these popular, high-budget emotional stories.
The sort of Disney or Pixar aesthetic.
That's the one. That high-end association dramatically increases the click-through rate, the CTR. And when you combine a high CTR with high retention, the platform's decision engine sees a highly valuable video. It's almost a guaranteed viral cocktail.
So if we connect this back to the bigger picture, what we're really watching here is a near-perfect example of market arbitrage. The creator is using AI to produce that premium Disney-inspired packaging.
And the high retention material, the hooks and the twists.
All without the traditional cost.
Yeah.
The whole cost structure has fundamentally changed. It's turning a huge capital problem into a technical one.
That's the key takeaway. It turns what was an impossible capital expenditure for one person into a manageable, reproducible exercise in sophisticated prompting and assembly. There's a real shift in the economics of animation.
Which brings us to the operational side. How are people actually pulling this off with consistency? We know there are 2 main methods, a modular stack with free tools or a more advanced integrated tool. But both of them rely on meticulous setup.
Let's start with the modular approach, the free tools, because that's where the strategy around consistency really shines.
So the whole process starts with the channel's SEO foundation, even before the first video is made.
It's very methodical. Creators use something like ChatGPT right at the start to generate, say, 10 unique channel name ideas and a fully SEO-optimized description. Then, for the channel keywords, they use a tool like vidIQ AI Coach, which pulls in live search results.
So it's a deliberate push for visibility from day one.
Exactly. And that deliberate approach continues into the scripting. Retention is the main goal, so the script has to be near perfect. They configure ChatGPT not just as a writer, but as a professional story creator specializing in high retention storytelling.
And these scripts are surprisingly long, right? Like 5 to 20 minutes?
They maximize the minutes of viewer spends on the channel, which is exactly what the platform wants to see.
Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting, especially for anyone who's played with AI image generators. How do they maintain character consistency? That was always the huge bottleneck.
Right. It's what instantly gave away an amateur production.
How do you keep the same character look across 30, 40, maybe 100 different scenes?
The workaround is a pure technical nugget. When you're generating the image prompts from ChatGPT, you do it in small batches, 5 at a time, and you keep prompting the AI with yes to continue the story. This helps the model maintain thematic consistency.
That makes sense for the text, for the prompts.
Yeah.
But the images themselves still change drastically every time you hit generate. That's just how AI art works.
And that's where the crucial technical detail comes in. You have to track the image seed in the image generator, like Leonardo AI.
The seed, okay, what is that?
When you generate that first image of your main character, the image is given a unique number. That's the seed. Think of it like the character's unique DNA.
So if you lose that number, the character's hair color changes, their clothes are different.
Everything changes, exactly. So for a story with 3 main characters, the creator has to meticulously track and reuse those 3 different seeds for every single image generation of those characters. That's the secret.
Wow, so that's almost like a spreadsheet job. That's the real secret sauce here.
It's that small administrative detail that transforms a jumble of clips into a cohesive film.
Okay, so after you've generated all these high-quality images, the final step in this modular workflow is the animation.
Which is also automated, but with an intelligent layer. They use ChatGPT again, but now it's acting as a professional animation director to generate the image-to-video prompts.
Like motion camera angles, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Those prompts then get fed into an animation tool like Flow, and they use the faster V3 model.
And they specifically note that a 1080p upscaled export is key. Why is that?
It's about optimizing quality against time. When you use the faster models, you often get a slight compromise on resolution. By upscaling the final output, they're preserving that professional polish that made the content clickable in the first place.
Okay, let's shift gears. So that's the modular high control stack. What about the other workflow, the advanced integrated tool stack, which is all about speed and volume?
This is where you see tools like Vub. The clear advantage is that it just significantly speeds up the entire process. You're not jumping between ChatGPT for scripts, then Leonardo for images, then Flow for video.
You just import the whole script into one platform.
Precisely. Up to 4,000 characters. And the tool automatically creates the scenes in the style you want. That Pixar style is mentioned a lot. And it generates the captions, the voiceover, the pacing. It's a huge reduction in complexity.
It sounds a lot faster, but I have to assume you sacrifice some control.
You limit the granular control, yes, but it offers smart efficiency features. For instance, you can regenerate individual scenes if one isn't quite right. But critically, for high-volume creators, you can connect your own replicate API key.
Hold on, let's pause there. Why is connecting a replicate API key such a big strategic move for monetization?
It's purely about cost reduction at scale. These integrated tools often charge a premium for their bundled usage. By connecting your own personal API key, you're bypassing their markup and paying the direct lower cost for the computation.
So for someone publishing dozens of videos a month, that would save a significant amount of money.
It dramatically reduces the operational cost, which maximizes the profit margin. It's a very savvy economic move.
And it still provides some customization, right? Even within that integrated system.
Oh, yeah. For example, you can set the padding on subtitles to keep the text near the bottom, which is a nice clean look. And a subtle audio nugget is the recommendation to adjust background music volume to around 20% right inside the tool.
Speaking of audio, this feels like a good transition. Because even with all this powerful AI, the final assembly, the final polish, that's what determines if a video gets 2 million views or just 2,000.
Absolutely. The editing strategy is all about maximizing retention through really nuanced audio manipulation, usually in a tool like CapCut. The first critical step is cleaning up the 11 Labs voiceover.
Why does it need cleaning? I thought it was a top-tier AI voice.
It is excellent, but the raw output often has these small, slightly unnatural audio gaps between sentences. If you leave those in, the voiceover sounds robotic. It breaks the immersion.
So you have to manually tighten those gaps to make it flow more smoothly.
But you have to be careful not to overdo it or it sounds rushed. It's a targeted edit. Now let's talk about the most strategic audio trick, the background music.
Which is usually sourced from a royalty-free library like Pixabay.
Right. And the volume is lowered a lot, down to around minus 20 decibels, so it never overpowers the voiceover. But the real genius here, the detail that manages the viewer's emotional state, is timing the music changes.
What do you mean? The strategy explicitly says that major plot twists in the script must trigger a music change. You cut the current track with a 3-second fade out, and then you bring in a new, more intense track right at the moment of the twist with a short 1 to 2-second fade in.
Wow, that's a classic cinematic technique. It heightens the emotional impact, it spikes the viewer's attention, and it keeps them locked in right when they might otherwise click away.
It is the final layer of polish that makes the AI content feel professionally directed. And then you just apply a simple fade out on the whole clip at the end for a clean finish.
Then comes the packaging, the thumbnail. They loop back to ChatGPT, get it to generate a high CTR text-to-image prompt based on the video's title.
And that image gets generated back in Leonardo AI using the ideogram model. The goal is maximum clickability, a thumbnail that promises an intense emotional story.
And the final step, before hitting publish, brings us right back to where we started, optimization. They revisit the vidIQ AI coach, but this time it's configured as a professional YouTube SEO strategist to generate the final description and tags. This makes sure the title, description, and tags are all speaking the same algorithmic language.
And those two critical compliance checks, setting made for kids to know and altered content also to know.
So when we put it all together, what does this actually mean? What are the big takeaways from these two workflows?
Well, it seems like we have two viable strategies, right? The free modular approach is all about granular control. You get that absolute character consistency with the image seeds. You have precise control over the music. It's ideal for someone focused on maximum quality.
Whereas the advanced integrated tool is all about speed and volume. It lowers the barrier to entry even further. The strategic takeaway here seems clear. The current monetization landscape heavily rewards predictable, polished packaging and high viewer retention.
And AI has just completely transformed the cost structure of achieving both of those goals at the same time.
It's a complete cost migration. What used to be a months-long animation project for a whole studio is now a sophisticated prompting and assembly exercise that a single person can do in a few hours.
The value has shifted from the manual skill of drawing to the strategic skill of assembly, prompt engineering, and retention management.
And that's the strategic shift we're watching happen in real time. Which brings up a pretty big question. If AI can now replicate content that used to require a dedicated studio in a matter of hours, what happens to the market value of professional animation skills?
And maybe more importantly for this whole landscape, how long before the platform algorithms, seeing this flood of high-efficiency content, adjust their incentives to counter this newfound ease of production? It forces you as a creator to really think about the underlying economics of this whole game and to wonder what that next algorithmic adjustment is going to be. That's a question everyone should be thinking about right now.